How is it going, guys? Now this video is going to be a little bit of a rant. Now I don't try to get political on this channel, and a lot of people seem that I try to take sides or whatever when it comes to politics, but I'm actually registered as an independent. I don't care for the Republicans or the Democrats. I'm kind of right down the middle on certain topics. But when it comes to social justice warriors in video games, I think that it's time that they stop. If you guys don't know, Ubisoft recently just announced that they're apologizing for their new DLC. And the reason that they're apologizing is because the vocal minority of the social justice warriors of the LGBT plus community are enraged over the fact that your character has to be straight. Now, if you don't know, when it comes to Assassin's Creed, the whole plot of Assassin's Creed is that you follow the bloodline of the assassins. Now, this Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a prequel. It takes place way before all the other Assassin's Creed games, and they take the DNA of the assassins and they follow the bloodline through the different generations of the assassins, and that's the plot of the game. Like, they sit down in this Animus machine, it reads your DNA, and that you can go back in time and you can read the thoughts and you can just live the life of your ancestors. Well, it wouldn't make any sense at all if you were, especially in a prequel, you just decide to be gay. How are you supposed to have kids and continue the bloodline? That completely throws out the plot of Assassin's Creed. It would make zero sense if you went clear back before everything. The very first assassins decided to be gay, and then the bloodline would end right there. You can't have a gay couple and adopt because the bloodline doesn't pass down. How are you supposed to read the Animus through the ancestors if the bloodline doesn't go through? So yeah, Ubisoft has announced their apology. They said, reading through player response of our new DLC for the Legacy of the First Blade Shadow Heritage, we wanted to extend an apology to players disappointed by a relationship your character partakes in. And the intention of the story was to expand how your character's bloodline has a lasting impact on the assassins, but looking through your responses, it's clear we missed the mark. Alexio/Cassandra realizing their own morality and the sacrifice Leonidas and Marine made before them to keep their legacy alive, felt the desire and duty to preserve their important lineage. Our goal was to let players choose between a utilitarian view of ensuring your bloodline lived on, forming a romantic relationship. We attempted to distinguish between the two, but could have done this more carefully as we were walking a narrow line between roleplay choices and story. And the clarity and motivation for this decision was poorly executed. As you continue the adventure in the next episode, Bloodline, please know that you will not have to engage in a lasting romantic relationship if you do not desire to. And then they also had to change an achievement. There was an achievement called Growing Up, which people were angry because it implied not having a child or being gay made them less of an adult. And then they said, it definitely was not written with that intention. This was an oversight in the review process, and we very regrettably missed it. We share the frustration of players who find this offensive, and the achievement/trophy will be name changed with the DLC 1.3 patch is available. So, yeah. Now, in this game, there's quite a few different romantic options that you can choose with random people. You can choose to be in straight relationships, or you can choose to be in gay relationships. Well, they aren't even really relationships, they're more like hookups. Because as I've been playing the game myself, I've seen two different instances where you can hook up with random different people. And then I even came across a character where they gave me the option to be gay with this person. So you could even be bisexual if you wanted in the game. You can have sex with a girl, and then you can go on later on in the game and have sex with a guy. But the whole plot of Assassin's Creed, like I said, is to pass on your heritage. You need to, that's how the assassins work. They have kids, they go on, and they continue the assassins, and then they have kids, and then they pass it on to their kids. And if you just randomly decide, I'm going to have a gay relationship, and this is back in ancient Greece. Let's say you decided to have a gay relationship with your character. And how would you even go about adopting? There's no sperm banks or anything back then. They would have to just find a random kid and take them in as two gay men, which was pretty frowned upon back then. So I don't know how. It's like they're sacrificing historical accuracy and realism, what's left of these Assassin's Creed games, because they've gotten pretty crazy. They've they've gotten pretty far off track with their Assassin's Creed games since the originals. But it's based on history. Like, they have these assassins and they're scattered throughout history. You play in different time periods in history as assassins. You take out well-known targets and whatever. And I don't know, it's like the social justice warriors are getting angry over something. I don't know. It's like being straight is seen as frowned upon. Like, that's how biology works. Like, you can't just there's nothing wrong with being gay. I think that's what they're not getting. It's not like people are standing up against the gays and they're like, no, we don't want gays in video games. It just doesn't make sense in this situation. That's another thing I don't get about, like, superhero comics and stuff. It's okay to have a gay superhero. It doesn't make sense to take a previous superhero and make them gay. That doesn't make any sense. Imagine if there was a gay superhero from the start and you switched him to make him straight. The outrage would be crazy. There would be so many people in an uproar for them changing a gay character to straight. So how's that any different from taking a well-known, like, superhero, or any character for that matter, and then just making them gay for no reason? It has to make sense with the plot. You can't just change somebody just to do it, just to pander to the audience. If the character is written the right way, it's the same with anything. Same with social justice warriors complaining about women in movies. Like, if the woman is written in the correct way, no one has a problem with it. Look at Ant-Man and Wasp and Ant-Man. She was a badass in that movie. The Wasp was a great character, well written. She was tough. She beat up bad guys. She was believable in that movie. That was a good example of a woman being in a movie. And then a bad example would be like Rey. Rey shows up in Star Wars and she's overpowered, and everybody doesn't like the fact that Rey didn't do anything to earn her power. She's a Mary Sue. They did a horrible job of explaining how Rey got to the point where Rey is, and that's what people don't like. It's the same thing with gays. Like, if you can't just write in a gay character just for the sake of having them be gay when they're originally straight. Like, if you have a gay person be gay from the very beginning of the plot, then that's okay. Like, if Assassin's Creed would have started off and you would have been a gay character, it's the same thing in this situation. Like, if they would have written you to be a gay character from the beginning and then not had this in mind of the bloodline thing, then that would have been different. Like, if the bloodline thing wasn't tied into it and it was just, you could just be a random assassin throughout the game and they didn't have to go through the animus and use your DNA, then whatever. It's no big deal if your character's gay. But you have to have the DNA to continue the plot of Assassin's Creed. So I'm just so tired of the vocal minority, because it's so weird how social media works. Like, you have most people that don't give a shit, and then you have the very few that speak the loudest, and they always complain on Twitter, and they just tweet the hell out of the developers and the game company, and they just complain and complain and complain until they're forced to make action, and then it makes everybody else angry because they're pandering to the vocal few. So in future Assassin's Creed games, are they just going to rewrite it so you don't have to deal with DNA like you have in every other Assassin's Creed game just because a few people are upset? Or are they just not going to give you the option to be gay and make gay choices in the future? Like, you can't have it both ways. But yeah, like I said, I have nothing against gay people, which is how some people are going to take this. Like, I've had gay friends. I even had a gay roommate in college. I went to parties where there was nothing but gay people, and I was the only straight person there. Like, there's nothing wrong with being gay, and most people in society have accepted this at this point. Like, there's millions of gay people out there. They're everywhere. They're in everyday life. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you try to force it on top of people, that's when people get angry. You can't force anything on top of people. But for me personally, I think you're pushing it too far when you're trying to rewrite biology for the sake of you being happy. Now, I mean, that's just how biology works. You have sex with a woman, you have kids, and then it goes on. And that's how you pass your bloodline on. I don't know. I just think it's stupid that people are so upset over this, and the fact that so many people were upset that they had to publicly apologize for it and how they're going to take action in the future. So let me know what you guys think about social justice warriors in video games and movies and how they're changing the way that we watch stuff in media. And yeah, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't agree with me, then I guess give it a thumbs down. And be sure to check out another video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist